वैसा वाला नहीं आता मुझे, वैसा पहनना है बोला तो सब भी पहनना है। मैंने भी फोटो भी डाला है आफ्टर सीइंग योर डांस प्रोग्राम में भी थी, इंडिया मेंबर भी है, खुद से बनी है जो फेसबुक भेजता है ना कि ग्रुप्स यू माइट बी इंटरेस्टेड इन, ठीक है। मैंने उसमें अपनी फोटो भी डाला है अपना साड़ी का, साड़ी पहनी थी, क्या नाम है? शुभी अग्रवाल, ठीक है। मैंने उसमें फोटो भी डाला है, रिसेंटली डाला है, ठीक उसी दिन डाला है जिस दिन आप लोगों ने परफॉर्म किया था। आई गॉट सो इंस्पायर्ड, मुझे यार डालना चाहिए।
What's your age with that? Sorry, 28. Yes, inspired me to say function with I think it will be done. You know what is happening in our age ladies, they don't wear it towards the wedding function.
They were all dresses, sharara, lehenga,
Gowns.
Yeah. Gowns.
Yeah.
The sharara lehenga is still
high,
yeah.
The gowns, what they do, they wear the stone work gown, it's not the cut, just to make it heavy. So, whatever you may say, makes me a because we've been pressurized to wear sari, that's why. And earlier, हमारी generation, age generation, जो ladies were, they were not bothered about their figure or about their physique. मोटे कुत्ते से नहीं करेंगे. They never bothered about themselves. The ladies never loved themselves. So they just left it. बच्चे हो गए, जो मर्जी जैसे मर्जी शरीर, जैसे मर्जी. They're not bothered about the skin. They're not bothered about doing anything. अब वही बड़ी शादी हो गई झंडे. So they stopped it. They wore a sari like a 6 मीटर का कपड़ा लपेट दिया, घर में जाए कैसी मर्जी बंदी हो. They're not. If you see that pressure of wearing a sari is gone. बंदियों में भी नहीं पहनते साड़ी, कोई प्रेशर नहीं करता ना.
पहले तो फिक्स था वो वही पहनना.
हमने पहनी है 10 साल मैंने पहनी फिक्स. Now इस साड़ी को तुम नए फॉर्म में स्मार्ट, you are a different man. Like my daughter never wore a sari with a normal blouse. मतलब एक आध बारी तो जरूर पहना, but normal top बिकिनी के साथ पहनेंगे, क्रॉप टॉप के साथ पहनेंगे, so it's okay. But she loves to wear sari. She loves to get clothes on. Because people feel it. I'm interested.
कभी ऐसा नहीं है कि 100% आपने एक्सटेंड कर दिया.
Immediately I go out of the way to get her dressed if she wants to be in sari. Because she doesn't know how to repeat it. मैंने पहली बारी पहनी थी, नहीं पहनी. There's nothing. God is shape and blouse. Because I don't want that thing to get killed in her. मुझे साड़ी पहननी पड़ेगी. Minimum I'm going. If I'm not going for a designer wear, I'm just going to normal GK market and stuff. These are the yarn, this is like a suit. Sari.
We loved it the way you went. Is it something you guys go into to promote, or is this the only place you have?
No. We have a journey of over 2 years now. We did first ever sari Taj Mahal Select City. There were 50 ladies performing there in the mall in saris. And then we celebrated sari in 2015. We had a major program celebrating the sari. Again with different states and dance, connecting it with the Bollywood, depicting it through the poetry, skits. साड़ी किस तरह से आपको अट्रैक्ट करती है. What are the advantages of wearing sari? Then we keep posting up. You are a member of India Sari Channel because we see how many posts we put every day. सपना की तो रोज ही आती है.
She wears only sari, or she wears?
दिन में she wears sari. I'm very much into sari myself. मैं फोटो खींचने का टाइम नहीं मिलता, बट दिन में तो साड़ी में भी होती रहती हूँ. Even you see me Lajpat Nagar in a sari.
You stay where?
I went to Dewi, near South.
She lives in New Friends Park.
Yeah.
And my mother is also there. My sister is also there. New Friends. But I'm not. Good now.
Where in Gurgaon?
Yeah.
Where in Gurgaon?
In Gurgaon, DLF phase 1.
I'm also from Gurgaon.
Which?
I'm in Golf Course Extension.
Okay, that is very near. There's a shopping mall market. I have a shopping mall. Garments, pattern.
So what do you do with
Well, I have my own business and I deal into home decor products. And we customize rugs according to interior.
Rugs.
I just met a lady out there, Bintu. She's importing carpets from Afghanistan.
Okay, so she must be in Persian carpets.
If you want to get connected to it.
Yes, why not?
Abhi meko bahari, we were having lunch together.
Okay, it reminds me that I also should be. I started my day quite late today because I could not sleep properly.
You're staying in hotel?
Yes, I'm staying. I think it's better, coming daily and going. Better to stay.
It all depends how much responsibility you have.
You are staying in hostel?
I can't.
आप लोग जा रहे हैं?
I am not coming every day alternative. I can't do much of this because I have a lot of.
I understand.
मैं try करके आई हूँ.
It is my husband who is saying, it is my husband who is saying that be there, make network and all those stuff. But I was saying yesterday, he was there with me yesterday for dinner. And I said, yeah, this is it's like, when you are here, your whole work is completely gone for task. Because every time you want your space, then you can do your work properly. अच्छा क्या करें शुरू करो?
Start कर लेते हैं. कैसे बुलाना कैसे उन लोगों को?
कोई सिंगर तुम्हारे पास कोई स्पीकर आई नहीं अभी तक?
नहीं.
पता तो वापस ऑडियंस है. स्पीकर तो मैं बन गई स्पीकर. I can, if you want, I can lead for you guys. Okay. No, I am a volunteer. I can lead for you guys. But I
नहीं
but yeah, जहाँ पे मैं वो करूँगी दे देती हूँ मैसेज. ऑडियंस टू कम. जहाँ पे बोल के नहीं वो जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. ग्रुप में डाल. हाँ ग्रुप में डाल. यू आर वॉलंटियर ना? तो मैं भी ग्रुप में डाल देती हूँ. प्लीज कम टू सी यू. वी नीड ऑडियंस इन सी यू. तो छोड़ दे बोल नीड ऑडियंस इन सी यू.
बता वो तेरी आईडी है.
क्या कर सकते?
अरे ग्राउंड में बार मान लो बैठे रहने. एक ग्राउंड में कोई आसपास जो दिख रहे हो सारे नहीं होते ना उसको ऑनलाइन देखने.
So you are leaving? Yeah. I'm really going to happen. इनको प्लान था ठीक कर रहा है इसको. हाँ कोई प्रॉब्लम.
वो मिला है काम कर जैसे भी.
So you start. You say I'm opening this panel for discussion. वैसे करते हैं. सबने करते या ये बोल देंगे सबने करते हैं.
नहीं मैं फर्स्ट सेटिंग करूँगी. नहीं लेकिन दो स्पीकर एक स्पीकर तो है अभी नहीं छोड़ देते. हाँ ठीक है मैं लिख रही हूँ.
I said there is no audience. There is no audience call and there are no speakers. The session speakers are not.
Really?
So then what I do is I start with my talk. And then maybe one or two few things to find maybe we ask a question and question. For the one to do now.
बट पाँच मिनट वेट कर लेते हैं ना.
Shall we move to that?
Yeah, I think we should come.
हम 5-7 मिनट.
And we will sit with yourself. I will sit in.
क्या है कि 5-7 मिनट और वेट कर लेते हैं ना.
ये हो गया. हर सेशन में ऐसे चल रहा है. मैंने कहा हर सेशन में ऐसे चल रहा है. एक्चुअली द प्रॉब्लम इज कि इतना सब कुछ एक साथ हो रहा है. कितने लोग क्या क्या अटेंड करेंगे वो सबके भेज में जा भी नहीं रहा था मुझे. What is this? मत खा दे. You want? वो इतने से वो तो से बहुत से you want some Indian chapati?
Mouth freshener. हमें थोड़ी सी देना बहुत सारा freshener.
Mouth freshener.
और थोड़ी सी.
Yeah, we just started. I'm just giving you a little if you want some more.
What is it?
It's like, taste it.
Okay, but
It's a supari. It's a mouth freshener. Mama?
It's nice. Yeah, I'll also have. ऐसे नहीं मुंह में नहीं जाता. इकट्ठे दे.
बहुत strong है.
Anybody
जो
feel
चढ़ेगी
supari?
स्ट्रॉन्ग है तो नहीं.
नहीं.
चमड़े को छो तो मेरे को प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी.
Sorry. इसमें क्लोज करके मैंने टॉक फिर फुल बाहर बन जाए. इसमें तो ये पेस्ट वाले नहीं देना खाली.
नहीं तुम वीडियो बना रही हो लाइव.
वीडियो बनाने के लिए अपना कुछ कर देते. अच्छा वेट कर लो अभी तो कोई ऑडियंस नहीं.
5-7 मिनट तो मैसेज दिया है.
We'll wait for 5 seconds.
5 मिनट.
ओके.
ऑडियंस थोड़ी.
No response.
hi, my name is Marianne. Nice to meet you.
Vandana. I'm partner with Sapna.
Okay.
We promote women to excel. So you're already doing this.
It's basically totally the value of culture we work together. All cultural causes, social causes. And it is really involving of the organization.
I'll remove this from set.
Make all the ladies work for it. Just not give them work for it. Basically, the trust is the ladies have to work on their own. Like even like we doing this film practical. So the lady they perform in front of us as a privileged women. And they escape to their So that's the indulge the ability. Give the message to the disadvantaged. They also feel nice and they somebody about them. Because whatever it makes in a case which they have never played. But that is their mind and our mind also. They feel very nice and taking pains to get their memory
Sapna, please push for Camille.
अभी दो so simple things like this.
जो मुख से बोला चार
Make them dance, whatever your talent is. Somebody will say that. Do it.
good enough to all better than that.
So it's more of their empowerment, of a lady empowerment than less about it. Whatever you and your emotion, take it. So it is by working, you are empowering yourself. Actually, when you are working, you know, you are somewhere
This what you
surrounded by everything.
Yes, but ladies.
I can see it. Hi. That's nice.
I'm more.
पे कर देता हूँ वो आप कर लेना
apply and praise each other so that people get more His mother was running in Sari.
He made her more than Sari.
We participated for his painting organized by him and we all were active in Sari.
Start करने से पहले
So we made a statement that we can walk and run in Sari.
Otherwise people normally think, oh, Sari.
तो खाना भी बनाया है साड़ी पहन के पूरा पल्ला बच्चों की बारी भी
एग्जीबिशन जो लगती है ना वो फेसबुक पे है ना उस पर फोटो डालता हूँ स्पेलिंग वगैरह तो चलाना हमें आता है अंग्रेजी नहीं आती है स्टार से भी 5 स्टार है 2 दिन पहले
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. I welcome Sapna Khandelwal.
शुरू होगी ना
Her topic is how to create a movement around your great work. So please welcome Sapna ji.
Namaste. I welcome you all to this lovely topic, which is really very deep to my heart. I will take you through my own journey of first losing myself and then finding myself. You know, we in India have been traditional sari wearers all our lives. But what has happened is, like how in Japan the kimono became extinct, Similarly, in India, the sari is dying from our urban lives. So we had to do something to revive it, because what had happened was when my kids were getting married and both the girls told me, my daughter and my would-be daughter-in-law, Mom, we don't want a single sari in our trousseau. And that really had me thinking, if the youngsters have no connect with the sari, that means something somewhere was really wrong. And if our sari dies out, it's an entire ethos of India, the culture, the tradition. Sari is the oldest, timeless garment in the world. It finds mention in the Vedas too. And our weaves and our weavers have been very, very famous. India is known for its weaves. People from all over the world have been coming to India to procure spices, fabric, textiles from us. So all this had me thinking, and then we thought to ourselves, we have to do something to revive this. Unless the youngsters kind of connect with the sari, they will not want to wear it. And somewhere we went wrong, because when we were growing up, all the elders in our environment were wearing this beautiful garment. But when our children were growing up, we were just trying to ape the West. Be in dresses, be in jeans, be in shorts. So our kids had no role models to speak of. So basically the change had to come from within, because you cannot tell your children something and do something exactly the opposite. So you have to live it first. So we started a movement called India Sari Challenge. We started with 30 women, and there are more than 10,000 now. So the movement has really caught up. So I'm here to talk about this topic, how to create a movement around your great work. And I can only say it by sharing my true story, is how we did it. Two of us ladies got together. So first we created India Sari Challenge. And then after that, Vandana Gupta and she's just sitting there. She's filming me at the moment. So Vandana Gupta and I joined hands to make Dev-Didi. Now Dev-Didi comes from the word Devyani, which is her daughter, and my daughter-in-law Aditi. So we joined the two words together, Devyani ka De, Aditi ki Didi, to make Dev-Didi. Now, while finding ourselves back to our roots, through the sari, we got into women empowerment. We realized that urban women too need empowering. They may have best of everything, best of brands, best of jewelry, best of things, best of clothes, but they're so empty within. You need to have something to do, some goal to give back to society, something to touch another person's life, to bring a smile to some life, to find a meaning in your own life hence. So this became a great movement of Dev-Didi, and we opened membership, and we have loads and loads of members. We do a lot of work in Dev-Didi. We just collected about 500 saris, and we donated to our lesser privileged sisters near Mathura. Then we taught them personal hygiene, we taught them sanitation. We just did a drive on Women's Day. We did for about 50 women, we did a mammography to teach them about cervical cancer and breast cancer. And about 100 children we taught good touch, bad touch. It's very important. Even the urban children do not understand what a touch can signify, what a look can do. So we taught them good touch and bad touch. So this is our way of giving back to society. Ours has been a very, very ancient culture in the world. We as a nation have given a lot to the world. But somehow down the line, we became so westernized. We stopped believing in ourselves, in our own culture, in our own heritage, in our own traditions. So Dev-Didi is a movement, first and foremost, to teach us women to be proud, to take pride in being an Indian, to be proud of being an Indian first. The moment you understand, the moment you accept that what you can do, what you can give to the world is something, if you find yourself and you passionately believe in what you have, and then through that journey, if you can touch so many lives and bring a smile to your life, so many lives, then you found your goal. So Dev-Didi is all about that. So it's Dev-Didi and India Sari Challenge, and this is how we made our movement work. I'm going to invite Vandana here with me, so that both of us can, she'll also share a little part of what both of us have gone through. So just one second. Can you just take this one? Can you just shoot? So this is Vandana Gupta, the co-founder of Dev-Didi, and she is my nanath too. I mean, she's my sister-in-law too.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sapna has spoken all about us, Dev-Didi and India Sari Challenge. The only thing I would like to add a bit unless and until we urban women empower ourselves, we cannot empower the lesser privileged. That is for sure. Whether it's Indian culture or your culture or Australian or African culture, you have to be proud of it. You have to connect to your roots somewhere. If you keep a connection, everything goes right. Maybe I want to wear a skirt today. I will wear a skirt. But I should not lose this. This is what I'm trying to tell this young girl also, Shruti, right now. Don't just avoid this. Wear it. You will get connected to the roots. And it looks smart. All of you here, I know you want to wear a sari one day. And with this dot, bindi. So this is our culture, and like Devditi, what she's talking about, it's not just reviving the culture, we're trying to do something socially also. We want to give back to society in some way or the other. And the women in our group, what we've started doing, we involve them. We don't just want their money to do the work. We involve them in a fun activity and make them do the work. We don't want money, you give me 10,000, I'll do this. No. You come and work. Like on the Women's Day, we presented a skit for the lesser privileged ladies where the skit was on why you should get a mammography done. Why is it important to learn hygiene? Why it is important to learn about cervical cancer? It is not just give me money, I'll go have a mammography camp. No, you come and work. And it is all in entertainment. You'll find some entertainment there, you'll enjoy, and you would like to come back and work for this cause. And this is what is going to give you satisfaction in the end. Because you have involved yourself physically, mentally, financially, all three aspects, you're doing it. And we give you a platform to perform. A 40-year lady who's never been on stage, and one day she's coming, oh, I'm dancing on stage. So she feels very nice about it. This is one way of empowering. That's what I feel personally. And now I give mic to Sapna because I can keep going and on and on.
Thank you
So like about 3 days back, the first day of WEF-2017, we Devditis, 40 of us, were dressed in beautiful saris and of different drapes of different states. And we presented a beautiful program upstairs in the Peacock Ballroom, And after that, I'm really proud and happy to say, so many women have come to me saying that, hey, I wore the sari just for Devditi. Hey, look, I'm in a sari. Hey, look, I'm in a sari. And most women I know, when they want to feel like a queen, they say, okay, let's drape a sari. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you, Sapna ji and Vandana ji, for such an informative talk. I welcome Camille Glover. How do you pronounce it? Camille. Topic is how to create a movement around your great work. Please welcome. Please come.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The topic, as she said, is how to create a movement around your great work. So that's what I'll be speaking about. But in order to really speak on that, the first question I leave you with is, what are you passionate about? Sometimes we begin businesses or we are in jobs or careers that we're not truly passionate about, but they may be very lucrative. They may be something that we are exceptional at. We may have great skill sets, and so we do certain work. But when you want to create a movement, when you want to engage people, get people to really be interested in something, you always want to begin with what you're passionate about. Because that thing is going to fuel you to move towards movement. So if for instance, I am passionate about the issues of human trafficking, both with women and children as well as even with men. And I come from the United States, and believe it or not, one of the areas we see trafficking, in addition to the issue of women and girls, is within our prison culture sometimes, because people who are incarcerated in the United States essentially lose some aspects of they're not truly treated and considered full citizens as the rest of us. So when I do certain work, I use the fact that I'm very passionate about that issue to educate other people. And any time that I have an opportunity to speak on that issue and educate people, if it comes up in even casual conversation, I am able to start speaking about it and help educate people. And in some cases, I've had friends and colleagues who have become very passionate about that as well. So the first step in how to create a movement is begin with what you are passionate about. Because if you care about something, you are going to pour so much into that. And you will be surprised by how many people you can impact and influence just because of how much you care about that issue. The second step to creating a movement around your great work is to find other people who are passionate about that and to connect with those people. All of us are here because we care about some aspect of empowering women or helping women develop their financial or economic strength. And we wanted to be aligned with other people who care about some of the same things that we do so that we can partner with those people. So partnering with people that care about the same issues you do, even if it's in different aspects, or partnering with people that care about things that you can align yourself with, is an incredible way to create a movement around your great work. Because if you are connected with other people, then those people are connected with other people. And before you know it, you begin to sort of create a movement just by virtue of connection. Our former president, Barack Obama, when he first ran for president in 2008, one of the ways he was credited for success was because he essentially went back to his roots of community organizing, and he ran that campaign literally, and I worked on that campaign, so I can say this, like a grassroots movement. He started going and speaking to people. We were, those of us who worked on the campaign, we canvassed, we knocked on doors, we spoke to people, we spread a message of change and learned about what concerned people, and that information was brought back to him. And throughout his campaign, he wanted to make sure that everybody felt connected to him and his message, and he was very successful in that. So in this day and age of social media, it makes it so much easier because you don't even have to connect with people who are in your physical community. We now live in a global community where we can connect to so many different people. So using things like social media to connect with women all over the world, attending conferences such as this is a great way to create a movement around your great work, because what you'll find is that there's always somebody who's probably doing something either exactly like you or very similar, and you can collaborate, and that can expand your scale. We talk a lot about scale in the business world and the economic world. So if you are trying to create, a movement around your work, you want to get that message out. And earlier I spoke on financial empowerment, and we spoke about the issue that in sometimes rural communities, the women don't have access to social media. But prior to the invention of social media, we found other ways. Word of mouth is the old school version of social media. So getting the word out, even no matter how you have to do it, until you can reach that larger scale. That's a great way to, create a movement around your work. And finally, the best way to create a movement around your work is to just keep going, no matter what obstacles. Because as you know, anytime you want to do something meaningful, you're going to be faced with great challenges. Whether it's getting, in the United States, for instance, when we start NGOs, and I have helped people begin them, I'm an attorney by profession. And so I've actually physically filled out the paperwork for people for the IRS, which gives them what we call 501c3 status. That's, our version of nonprofit status. And it's a lengthy process, and it sometimes, I mean, I've been very successful that I can say every one that I've started, we've been approved on the first try, but there are some instances where people fill out the paperwork, they send it to the IRS, and they're rejected, or the IRS comes back and asks a series of questions. And so that can discourage some people because it's like, oh gosh, I went through this whole process and I tried to do this great thing. But don't get discouraged along the way when you face challenges. Just keep going. And if you are connecting yourself with other people who are trying to do the same great work that you are, that's going to motivate you. So that's why you have to remember you're not an island unto yourself. You have to keep partnering with other people and connecting with other people, because when we go through these various steps, it becomes very frustrating. And our sister here just, showed us, Sapna, this beautiful sari that she made. She showed us partnership right in her presentation. So just remember that you have to keep connected to people. You have to keep it, because it will keep you energized. You want to start sort of small and go step by step. When you see people who have 1 million Twitter followers or 200,000 Twitter followers, that usually doesn't happen overnight unless they already have a certain presence, like if they're already a celebrity. But even celebrities, if you look at their social media, their following grows because they're growing their brand, they're growing their image. So keep, putting yourself out there, keep connecting to people, attend conferences, volunteer for conferences. Sometimes when you're just starting out, you don't have enough money to attend a conference. So I would suggest that you serve as a volunteer, because you can still be at the conference, but you don't necessarily have to pay for conference fees and things like that, and you will still have the same access to some of the events and dinners and outdoors where you can speak to people about your movement. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Really nice, really nice. So now we throw the floor open for question answers in case anybody has questions to ask anyone of us. 1 second.
Thank you. Sabna? I'm curious, in the U.S. we talk a lot about cultural misappropriation, which means doing stupid stuff if you're not part of the culture. And so I just love your sari, and I love the movement that you're starting and the reasons why. And so would it be appropriate for somebody like me from the U.S. to wear a sari?
Not at all. Why not? Totally our pleasure.
Not at all. You know what? It is a global, it's going to be a global movement. And this 6 yards is a free-flowing fabric. You can wear it in any style, any drape, any which way. It's just 6 yards, a plain 6 yards. It can fit a really big lady, a really tall lady, a really small lady, a really thin woman. So it fits all. It's like the only garment in the world, one size fits all. It encompasses all in its embrace. And see, because I'm a very passionate sari lover, so we in India have lots of states, and every state has its own variety of draping style. The fabric is also different, the textures are different, but even the drapes are different, like my friends over here, they know. So we wear it in many, many different ways, and it surely will encompass you as well.
And I think this is the only attire here in India which makes the lady look very graceful.
Yes.
Anybody
Whatever
else?
size she has.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else has any question? 1 second.
Suits every face cut, does not matter your body size and all, it will suit everybody.
Hi. Well, I'm totally doing what you were talking about, the cultural, what was it? Because I'm in my Indian fashions because I love it.
Okay.
And I want to...
How elegant and beautiful you look in your outfit.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you, because this question has been circling through my mind since I've gotten here. I wanted to ask you about the sari because I don't know the story. I don't know. I was thinking, what is the difference between this type of outfit and what you're wearing? So I'm so happy I'm in this room.
Well, in India, we believe in destiny. So destiny pulled you here. What you're wearing is a structured garment. It has a top and it has a bottom. What I am wearing or what these ladies here are wearing, it's an unstructured garment. It's just a rectangular piece of cloth, 6 yards long. So a sari is either 6 yards or earlier it used to be 9 yards as well, which is worn in a different way. But that 9 yards has almost become extinct. Even in the villages, I believe people are not wearing it anymore, the 9-yard variety. So the 6 yards that we wear is a rectangular piece of cloth. It's not stitched, it's not tailored, not structured at all. So it can fit anybody, any size, any shape, any age, anything, So that's the difference.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
My name is Marianne. Fantastic, your stories, and also the sorry story, but your passion in it, and history a little bit. And thank you for the outline. More on business level, but I'm not creating a movement, but I'm listening to the various tips, so thank you for that. Now coming back to sorry. Last Sunday, I was invited by friends, and they have a huge family business in India. And there were the normal rituals because the parents were married for 50 years. So that's a huge celebration. Yes, so I felt very honored, as a Western lady, only living 10 years here in Delhi, that I was part of it. And I came into the farmhouse, and I saw all the ladies so covered in a sari, and I was wearing my black shoe. And I thought, okay, this is not exactly my movie. And I was sitting there, a lady, and I know her from Defense Colony, and we are doing some things together in Women International Club. And I asked her, so, do you think I have to wear a sari today? Sure, Marianne. Why? Black is not a color. So she was a little bit putting my feeling of embarrassment a little bit more. And now we make an appointment. She said, now you're 10 years here in Delhi. You ever wear a sari? I said, no, it came up in my mind, it's the business paradigm. Okay. I never wear a sari, but my daughter, I'm running a business with my eldest daughter, and she was teaching in rural areas, and then she wore the sari. And funny, she became a totally different woman. Not identity-wise, but the way she was walking.
The sway in the walking, yes.
And then I felt a little bit, a little dorky, but she was gracious, etc., etc. So thank you very much for your story, and I will make the appointment with my friend, and let's see, not a black sari, but another. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We in India are a land of colors also. So we believe a lot in colors, So India is a magical land of colors, of textures, of spices, of beauty, of culture, of wisdom, ancient wisdom. Thank you.
Now come for photographs. Group photos.
अरे वो शादीशुदा है दिल्ली से तो अच्छा होल्ड रहा होल्ड दिस ग्रुप चलो बाद में चलो
मैंने जो दिया उसमें 3 ओके
Sorry in this essay.
होल्ड रखी हो यार इनके ग्रुप फोटो ले लेता हूँ सेक्शन खत्म हो गया तो सेक्शन खत्म होने के बाद ना ग्रुप फोटो लेते हैं हाँ तो फिर ग्रुप फोटो लेके फिर तेरे को मैं बात करता हूँ होल्ड रहने दिए यस वेट करना हाँ यस
Smile. Smile.
Thank you for my number phones. Take the number. Hello, Rajesh.
Yes. Excuse me.
The Saudi communities have joined.
Thank you so much. This was taking it all in. I hope it didn't bore you. No? Mine also?
Okay, yeah.
He's got so many notes. Thank you. One more? What? पूरी डाल दो मैं मोबाइल डेटा चाहिए ना One more? Oh, one. This is what celebrities take.
This is last. Okay.
Thank you. There's a topic, very nice, happening topic. Please take everybody.
Show me. Hello.
Water.
Oh, very close. Wow.
Lovely saree.
Here all the way.
2:15 बजे का है 15 मिनट है.
You're speaking Yoruba, right? Yes, 2:15. So 10 minutes. Yeah?
Nice meeting you.
Oh my God, yeah. Right down. So we've been here. I ran out of business cards. Well, I guess the word so much the way.
And do you have like a notebook that you can use?
He's loving it. I'm useful his action and everything while the other parts so they relate.
People on different levels and we talk about things, you know.
I am so
Really explosive learning. And then you get away from most works. And none of them are Saudi type, so I'm going on those. I was born and brought up in Hyderabad.
Oh, that's amazing. Whoa. I totally honored to just be a part of it.
What did you
help?
India Sari challenge is a free entry. That's how it is.
Oh, good.
I'm part of the normal. And then I'm going to use it.
Is just about ready to happen, and it needs to be a movement.
She's doing
Is it seance?
My work is leadership.
lifting the egos and do all work in Hyderabad. So we can get those 100 women and bring them all together and it's going to be so we can use our skills and doing work.
See, this is all about collectively doing something, you know, how to make a great movement. But जितने लोग जुड़ते जाएंगे passion के साथ पूरा करते Camille.
You have to find people of the same passion together to do a movement.
Because eventually जो तुम 20 को बोलोगे वो 20 200 को करेंगे वो 200 हो जाएगा.
मैंने आपको बताया कि कैसे we all have to tie up and we become
And what do you do?
I have to go companies. I was working with travel companies. That's why I have an entrepreneurship. Keeping in mind I don't have so much time, so it's the best thing that
But it really is about passive time.
generosity.
ये सेक्शन 2 बजे का खत्म हो गया।
लोगों को काम करना है तो आप अपने पैशन फॉलो नहीं करोगे तो कब करोगे?
Well, you have work organizations, and I spoke earlier about the fact that a lot of some of the parents and knowing the work that they do that don't have the you can comes out and it just kind of naturally they begin to have how do you have so that before you even have yeah, it's like they're already passionate, it's already circulating.
I think he sorry. We were 40 of us in the south side. Please give us maybe
So.
I didn't have, I went and buy it.
Yes, that's what we want to know.
So this is what.
तो हम लोग जैसे conversations करेंगे ना, कभी लेकर के थी रंगी कैसा होती है, क्या कहते हैं? the Nepali नारायण पेट पुनेरी sarees
Come with me. I was really, we have a family.
Thank you. Camille? Yes. Which part of US side?
Washington, D.C.
There's no choice. No, that's all.
So I'll email you.
Thank you so much. And you've been working with the ministry?
Yes.
I'm so happy.
I wish you well with your session. I'm going to go take a look. I see
No,
thank you. Can I find where was this?
I
like that. Yeah. Challenge.
Maybe I'm there this evening, and then we'll see.
Sadhna, thank you so much.
Bless you.
Yes, I can.
She was wearing suits and all trousers to factory. I joined KPT and started wearing sarees. Suddenly I found a change in labor and everything started getting more respect.
When this story came out.
I like a boss. जैसे मैं चुप के चले जाती थी फैक्ट्री में जाना ना जब एक बड़ी साड़ी पहनी की चुनी टिप लगाएंगे गले में चपत्ता सही डालेंगे कुछ तो डालेंगे suddenly we were the power of being a boss came in after wearing a sari.
Oh, sure.
Last 4 years. स्कर्ट के साथ स्ट्रेट्स के बारे में लेकिन घेरे वाली स्कर्ट पहनी हमारे लिए तो लहंगा ये स्कर्ट है आप क्रिंकल स्कर्ट तेरे लिए स्कर्ट है हमारे लहंगा नाइस फेस्टिवल
You did a wonderful job. I'm like all into the fashion. Wow. So the picture that was up there, that was you? Oh, yeah, that was you.
I also started doing so many sarees now. मेरे को एक exchange मैंने कभी किया.
Technician ही होगा.
Thank you.
मेरा मन.
No, it's a beautiful picture. Pretty lady in the picture.
साड़ी इसके साथ.
I got in on your So you can do this one. That makes sense. Yeah, she's the one. She's in yeah. No, a lot of these seems like they got in early, so I'm sort of the opposite. I stay. I think she's why.
We use it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful trying. Do you have a card? Yeah. I would love that. Yes. I live in Boston. Oh, you said Boston? Austin. Not as close to you. I have one of my cocktail table. Camille.
Johnstown.
No, Johnstown. DC is awesome. Yeah, the summers are good times. Closer to what you are. So nice to you too. And I'll email you. Please email me. I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, definitely.
This is
So who are you looking at being your friends?
Just right height.
Like, हमारे दो चल रहे हैं. One is ना देवदत्ती. And देवदत्ती का एक ऑनलाइन कैंपेन है इंडिया सारी चैलेंज. इंडिया सारी चैलेंज तो मेंबरशिप फ्री है. Which is just an online tool. There's nothing to do with the physical events. Deevdatti keeps conducting physical events. उसकी membership that is 10,000 plus 3,500 per year. हमारी होती रहती है ना अभी जैसे अभी उस दिन यहाँ पे प्रोग्राम पे तो सारा लेडीज को ट्रेन करना ये करना कोरियोग्राफर को भी पैसे देने हैं सब करना है गिविंग देम अ प्लेटफॉर्म वुमेन्स डे पे मेमोग्राफी कैंप लगाया बच्चों के लिए गुड टच बैड टच किया तो उसकी पीपीटी शो पे पैसे खर्चा होगा मेमोग्राफी वैन पे पैसे खर्चा होगा सब होगा उससे पहले भी टू एवरीबडी टू मोबाइल गार्डन सारी चलो फन इवेंट है everybody over about 30 ladies in red sarees to the garden. Vasant Panchami we went to Nizamabad.
And we created a beautiful racket. All eyes were on her in the entire picture. Obviously.
Vasant Panchami we went for Vasantotsav at Nizamuddin Dargah.
So if you don't have a yellow saree, you feel like buying it?
Yeah, absolutely. Or beg borrow steal.
Christmas Day again we were in red sarees at Select City Mall.
Okay.
अभी हमने अभी 27 का हमारा इंडिया सारी चैलेंज का बर्थडे था तो वी हैड अ वर्कशॉप ऑन हाउ टू क्रिएट योर फर्स्ट इंप्रेशन सो वी हैड अबाउट 2.5 hours talk by image consultant called Neha.
You also sit for some sessions.
Yeah, if you really enjoyed it, हमारा फीस कैसे होने चाहिए हमारी हाउ शुड बी टॉप
मुझे पता है
यंगेस्ट में हमारे पास सबसे यंग है 30 we want young people to come the target is the younger generation हमारे पास तो कोई पहने का नहीं तो अभी हम कुछ ना कुछ उससे पहले हम दिवाली पे किया. दिवाली पे we had at Selco Jewelry. हर चीज में खूब सारे गिफ्ट्स थे.
बगल वाली
लेडीज जैसे तुम अक्षर मुंह से कौन से आएगा
सबसे बड़ी लगता है
जिस डे मुझे भाई बहन ये मुझे बोली कि मैंने आपको अभी नहीं आप भी मेंबर थे आप
never spoken in my life. I just got hold of the mic and I keep speaking. जबरदस्ती because I know I can go on and on and on. I say I have mic to Sapna because I can go on and on for 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. Any number of people are all my family gathering. किसी का भी कोई होता है ना program. Mic मेरे हाथ में पकड़ा. Irrespective, I know what is the game they are doing or nothing. So मुझे पता है I can go on and on. Involved.
Most of the shopping start maybe last year in Gurgaon. Around it is issues with them. Any problem to be कोई मॉल जाओ
यहाँ पे मैंने परसों इंडिया बांटी है. Please wanted to put this dot. Friends she had one पूरा बिंदी 20 का पता हो तो पूरा खत्म हो गया. इससे बड़ी मैंने इनको और फिर तो मैंने फोटो भी खिंचवाई थोड़ा बिंदी के साथ
फिर उसमें से मैंने आपको एक बार विमेंस काउंसिल का बताया था ना. मेरे को खाने के अंदर ही स्कूल चल रहे हैं जहाँ मैं प्रेगनेंसी सब कुछ रेडी हो उन्होंने अपन को जो भी कुछ करवा तो ये उसकी प्रेसिडेंट है. और ये बिल्कुल मेरे सामने घर के सामने रहती है. वो जो विंटेज कार वाला है ना उससे 5 मिनट छोड़ बरखा के घर के पास है. बरखा के घर के बगल में बरखा के
इतना अच्छा लगा हमको. अच्छा लगा ऐसे ही we did a skit on waste management for those ladies where we performed ourselves. The ladies who were performing they felt nice. Those ladies, 100 ladies looking at us, they felt nice. ये शहर से आके हमारे लिए करने मेरा रोज झगड़ा होता है. I have 3 dozen and still everybody फिर मैं नौकर को लगा दी. तेरी गलती तूने क्यों डाल दिया मुझे मना कर you know I'm now to pick it and put it
and reuse our soil.
सब्जी गाय भैंस
My father-in-law today in Lucknow.
गाय की रोटी बनाते हैं.
So clever.
हमारे हमारे घर के साथ से गौशाला थी हमारी. गाय भैंस नहीं चलती थी. उन्हीं को साथ मटर का छिलका गन्ने का छिलका जो भी है everything given to those cattle.
And in 24 hours you will sleep. Decompose.
अच्छा मेरी तो एक बार वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट वाली चाहिए. It's a very dear word.
Even in the US, there are 2 veterans and I'm sorry to join.
We have to otherwise we'll drown in our
But in California, in Bay Area, there's a there's trash and there is a plastic very dry plastic. Just trash. अगर कूड़ा है बहुत गंदा सा आपका पर्स है. So we have started making 3 ways in our society. हमने कर दिया निर्वाणा country. It's a 3 ways. And जितना हमारा web page हम इनसे करना. I think you know one day maybe I will love to just topic we go through.
देखा नहीं कितना का बढ़िया काम है. हाँ यस मैम. आगे मत जाना, मैं रिकॉर्डिंग. तुम कंप्लीट करवाओगे कि वहाँ जी यूट्यूब में देखो.
Good afternoon, everybody. I welcome Dr. Marianne J. She is going to speak on female leadership and managing change, that is being the director of our own lives. So please.
Thank you very much. Really, thank you very much. I'm happy you're all here. And you're joining the session about female leadership and managing change. Of course, we know that we are all female leaders. And between you and me, we are the best one. But that's not the option of the story. I do have a PowerPoint because that structure a little bit the presentation, because it's a huge topic, of course. You know, female leadership, managing change, etc. So let's focus on a bit. And but before I do that, I'd like to invite Lucy. She's my co-lead speaker. And we both have a lot of stories, not only from ourselves, but also from our experiences with others. She's running an own company in manufacturing in Kenya. And I'm really happy you're here. You'll accept my invitation. Have a seat. After my presentation, I will give the floor to Lucy. And then, if you have any questions, of course, you can raise your hand or shout, whatever, you make yourself known. Halfway the PowerPoint, I have a very small movie, and I received it yesterday evening, very late. And I will tell you more about why is that movie. It's from Abia, and Abia is a female banker of Saudi Arabia. And when we talk about female leadership and managing change, especially the second part, managing change, of course you read the newspapers and you follow a little bit all the media, meaning that in Saudi Arabia a lot of things are happening right now. And that's not only the gender part, but it's how to invest in all the women that they try to find out what is their own identity, and not only the identity given them by the culture. That's different. Hi ladies, welcome to our session. So let's go through the agenda we have. First of all, it's are we the directors of our own lives? Well, the first thing your answer is yes, we are. Not always. Not always. So let's see. Second is the journey of managing change, and that's quite a journey. Of course. Everybody tells me change is life, it's inevitable. Get out of your comfort zone, then you know what change is, and then you know what life is. But is it a journey only in business? Is it a journey only in the country? Or is it a journey within yourself? Of course, a combination of all. And as a psychologist, I will introduce myself later on a bit. Then I'm looking 2 ways. First, what is the environment of a leader, especially a female leader? but what also is within. What kind of character, personality, experiences, etc. Then in life, we know there are a couple of habits. Call it vicious circles. Vicious circles could be positive, and in the literature it's negative. Especially when the circle is like that, going round and round, a little bit downwards. And are you a part of it? Are you able to step out of it? That's the question. Depending on your own personality, depending on your country, depending on your culture, depending on are you strong enough to resist all those influences from outside, or you think, why not? I'll step into that vicious circle because it's also in my interest. That's a choice. Be aware of it. That's the main part. So vicious circles, especially in behavioral level. And when you talk about behavioral patterns, we have two ways on behavior. One is the behavioral part, meaning the verbal part. You hear my voice, but you see more because you receive more information than only the noise of my voice. And that's my non-verbal part. When I'm doing this, you can interpret it depending on your culture. And when I'm talking about, my God, the weather in Delhi, that's fantastic, then you see two messages. The first one is the content of my verbal behavior. The weather is fantastic. Well, we all know it's a little bit hot today. And next week it becomes even more hot at 45. So the way I behave, my non-verbal behavior is, well, I don't like that weather. And that's very interesting, especially in the corporate world. What is exactly the message? Do you focus on the non-verbal behavior, or do you focus on the verbal behavior? When you are aware of both types of behavior, then you receive a lot of information. We as female leaders are more intent to focus on the non-verbal behavior because we are very, very sensitive and also very emotional. I'm not talking about the other part of our gender, meaning men are not emotional and not sensitive, but we use it in a different way. Then the last part is never-ending stories. Coming back to that, before this lecture I do once in a while some research, meaning I invite female leaders and we share stories and see what is the latest update about their experience, about their way how to manage change. And it's always a journey to do that because you receive not only business stories but also private stories. What are the hurdles? What can they celebrate? Do they have time for themselves to sit down and relax? Well, there's one answer, no. But is it a priority? Yes, in the head, but not in the action. So never-ending stories. I will update this research the coming 3 months, and then every 3 months I have an update and a new story. But first a little bit about myself. I'm a mom of 2 daughters, and I raised them by myself. One is living in Delhi, and the other one is living in London. And they both are quite a personality. So you can understand when we try to have breakfast or cooking dinner in a small kitchen, it's dynamic. Also, I like to spend more time on art. 3 years back, I was in Italy because I just want to clear my head. You know, you do a lot of stuff, but sometimes you need something else. So I went to Italy and lived for 3 months with Italian families. They didn't speak German, they didn't speak Dutch, they didn't speak Italian. Yeah, of course they speak Italian, they didn't speak English. So, and I was there to study for 3 months Italian language. And when you can't understand each other, you're dependent of your non-verbal behavior. So this, etc. And that was very interesting because when you're focused on the non-verbal behavior because you don't understand the communication, the verbal behavior, then you receive a lot of information about the culture. So that's the art part. Of course, there I have learned to cook rather well the Italian way of lunch, dinner, etc. As I told you, my background is psychologist, and I'm an executive coach. 10 years back, I came here in Delhi, and I love the people. not 100% the city, but that's in development. We talk about development. I'm the co-director of the Change Express, and the Change Express is the company I run with my eldest daughter. We work with Indian staff and Indian suppliers. I feel at home here because the people are here so lovely. And when you feel connected to those people, well, then it's addicted to stay in India. The Change Express. My passion is to support other people, especially women. And why is that? Well, I'm a woman by myself. I think I understand them, with the respect, of course, for the difference. But there's a lot of hidden talent. And there's a lot of hidden competences. And my passion is, when I see that, and people are not aware of it, then I try to tease, especially those female leaders. You can do more than you show. So why not? And then they're telling me, oh, let's wait. Why? There's no need to, etc. Of course, that's just choice. But the question is, do you have really a choice? I did it in the West for 20 years. And I moved to India because, well, my personal experience is not to be arrogant, but they need me more here in India than in the West. So. When you have that passion to support other people, you have to translate that passion into a vision. And when you have a vision, hopefully you can translate it in a mission. What is the assignment you give yourself as a company to make it happen, to make your dreams come true? Then you need a strategy, of course. You know, all those business terms. You know the business terms. So we don't talk about today with all those business terms. I like to have it more personal. But to translate my passion and to convince somebody else to join that passion, you need a vision, and that's the vision of the Change Express. And the vision is, our mission is to provide organizations with the boost they require to take next step, to take their way forward. And we do that via training. I'm the executive coach of the company. Very simple trainings, very sometimes complex training. Everything is customized. And the most interesting part I've experienced, especially in Indian companies, is to figure out what is their question, what is their story, but of course, what is the story behind their story. And then see if you can translate that to some products and services. When I was preparing this lecture, and 2 days back I also had a lecture for the WEF, and I really enjoyed it because it's fantastic to be here and to empower each other via sharing stories. So I thought, when I'm a lead speaker, I can share my story, but there's only one story. Why not create a little bit more effort and try to find out what are the stories of other female leaders? So I invited 40 female leaders in India and abroad. And I asked them, what is your passion? What is your purpose in life? What are your goals? What are you doing? You love it or you hate it? What are the hurdles? What are your change processes? How you came over all those hurdles? Do you have any support? Do you have 1 or 2 or 3 jobs? You know, a mom and running a company is minimum of 2. All those stories, that was a kind of a fantastic journey. I'm 60 plus, so sometimes you think, well, I know enough. Is there something still to learn? No, I know enough. After the last 8 weeks, every day I had 2 or 3 interviews. 50% were Indian female leaders and 50% abroad. I learned a lot. And the main thing was, never give up. Well, you know that. But sometimes you have the feeling, yeah, please, never give up. And that was the lady, the 2 speakers just before us. That was you and also your colleague from the United States. When you have a passion, you can create a movement. When you have a passion, you can create a company. When you have a passion, you can create a community. Whatever the form is, that's not important. very sexy is, of course, a huge 3 billion company listed on the stock exchange, etc. But is that female leadership? Could be. But you have a lot of leadership down to earth, maybe a smaller community, and maybe with hard work. So via sharing all those stories, after 40 stories, I was sitting down in the kitchen, because I always work in the kitchen, and trying to create one big story. Well, the findings I'd like to share with you, and I have also a report, so in my bag I'd like to give you a hard copy after my presentation for you. Now the question is, what is the common thread in all these stories? And secondly, how they overcome all the challenges. You can say hurdles, but one of the ladies told me, I don't know any hurdles in life. I know challenges. And of course, very interesting learning moments. So she translated the word problem or hurdle into a positive mindset. And she said, when you do that, you face the challenge, you face the problem in a different color. And for her, it was far more easier than to tackle that problem or by anticipating, prevent that problem. Now I take a little bit more the detailed question. Thank you very much. Thank you. Of the stories the ladies told me. Of course, there's a context, and I invited the business ladies because that's my area. And I asked them, well, what is the change you're now managing? Are you the leader of it? Yes. I give you a couple of those changes in the business context. For example, 2 ladies were busy with setting up their own company. One was expanding their business pan-India. You have your business in Delhi, but to expand to Mumbai and to Hyderabad, Bangalore, etc., then you expand abroad. Because the business was not only tangible, but also intangible, meaning services. And then you have to adapt to the culture. And we all know north, south, east, west, totally different culture in India. Implementing new philosophy in somebody's work. So you have your vision, but the way you like to translate that vision into company's activities. That's an interesting job. Takes time. Takes a lot of communication with somebody else. And she said, to introduce my new philosophy with my 60 employees, it took me approximately half a year, because she has to convince them what is the new philosophy and why is it effective, and do we have to listen to our boss, or we can create our own philosophy and see if we can integrate it. This was a very nice journey, she told me. Of course, merging with another company abroad, that was an interesting story. Story of a young entrepreneur. Well, she was 40 plus, but she started her company 3 years back. And she merged with the company in Singapore. 2 days back, I called her. Hi, how are you? Oh, how's your lecture? Yeah, about 2 days. What about your change? They quit. So that was a different story. It was not merging. During the merging process, the other partner in Singapore, thank you, bye. So right now she is in business divorce. Developing new global directions to meet expectations of my clients. Global directions, worldwide. You know your clients, you can see beyond the clients and feel what are their expectations. And if you feel that, and you can translate that in concrete activities, then you have to change your own direction of your company. She found out it is really challenging. But she has a family, of course. And she said, well, the last 4 months, I was traveling around the world. Because meeting the expectations of my client, that's not via Skype, that's not via email, that is face to face. And why is that? The noise of verbal behavior is only 20% of communication. You have to see them, the way they act. Maybe the aura via your third eye, whatever. Reinventing my company culture, okay. And then one lady, she was a French lady, she said, starting all over again to beat the competition. She felt, the heat in the back of the competition. It's a very good company, combination of services, manufacturing system and real estate. She said, no, we have to do something else. Because there's a company coming from the Netherlands, there's a company coming from Mexico, there's a company coming from Vietnam. I said, yeah, but you know that. Yeah, she said, but I earn a lot of money, so why? I'm the winner. Not anymore. And then she took the decision to start all over from scratch. No more offices. No more professionals. A couple of professionals that she re-educated. And she started, I think, 1 month back, a kind of new company with a different philosophy. And to beat the competition, she was okay in those kind of statements. She said, sometimes you have to join your competition, and that's the best way to beat it. And then she asked me, don't tell them. I said, okay, no problem. Selling the brand India abroad, that was a very interesting, but a huge change process. It's a real estate company, and there's an Indian lady, and she's very professional. And she said, what I have in mind is I want to have 5 international suppliers abroad in India. I'd like to settle them down here, start up a manufacturing, and do all the textile business. I said, you are going to convince? Yes, I'm selling India as a perfect make in India, stand up India, digital India, skilled India, etc., etc. She said, that's my goal for the coming year. And I want to have 5 suppliers. Meaning, that lady translated her passion into a vision, in a strategy and in activities. Because she was selling her own country abroad to gain more economy activities for India. These business cases is the context. And when I share it with you, I'm sharing it more or less in 2 ways. Firstly, I mentioned the business case itself. And secondly, I shared with you a bit about the journey of the change of those female leaders. And especially the journey itself. It's dynamic, of course. And we're talking about female leaders. And after 30 dialogues, I told myself, I think every lady is very, very capable to lead change. So I was testing that. But a couple of people, female leaders, said, But the biggest fight I had with another lady. And the most interesting, negative, dynamic games people play, that was also with other ladies. So we have maybe the image that we are soft or emotional or sensitive. But I think that's a wrong image. I think we can do both. We are very sensitive, we are very emotional, we have also technical skills, conceptual skills. And when you combine that, I think female leaders are very, very good. But I think it's an advantage when you, as a female leader, also understand what are the games in corporate world. And that are the political games. One of the common thread was also, when we are on the road for change, what do we need? What are main conditions? Well, I shared already with you. Of course, we have a clear visibility about our passion, our vision, etc. But also what kind of role we like to have. Is it a company, or is it a community or society who give our roles? Or can we choose by ourselves? The only thing is you have to be aware of what kind of roles you can play. Meaning, you have to understand your own identity, your personality. Very important is, do you have a good support system? Meaning, is everybody supporting you? Well, that depends. And I would like to show you a movie, because one of the participants was a lady of Saudi Arabia, and she had a really fantastic story. Can somebody help me with, let's see how it goes. Is there somebody technical in the audience?
You will call somebody from there? Cameraman, no?
Okay, then we do the thing. You can do it? Yes, it's on the desktop. Yes, this one.
I'm Dewi and I'm from Saudi Arabia. Throughout my career, I've been working in building technology and business solutions in the financial sector. One day I was asked to go to an event in a university to speak to a group of Saudi girls who are about to graduate. I was asked to get on the stage and tell my career story. I went there looking to inspire the girls, and I ended up being the person inspired, because that's when I realized my true passion. When we're young, we focus on ourselves, building our knowledge and experience. But later on, when we get older, the best way to multiply the return on the investment is to help others succeed in their careers. Today, I lead one of the Saudi Arabian national transformation initiatives called Durub. And Durub in Arabic means paths. The objective of Durub is to upskill Saudis. In its Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia is committed to wean itself from oil. And that's by focusing on its human capital, the most important resource we have. Saudi Arabia, like many other countries, have unemployment challenges. And 70% of our employment comes from women. It's very important for us to create jobs for these women. At the same time, we also need to make sure that women have the skills they need to succeed in these jobs. And that's our role as part of the Ministry of Labor and Social Development. We try to find solutions for women challenges. Working mothers worry about their kids. They need to leave them in a trusted place. So we created solutions for that. There are women that prefer not to leave home and work from home. So we developed solutions for teleworking. Women challenges, or working women's challenges around the world, are similar and different. Some challenges are easier than others. But what a lot of people forget is that we also have different cultures. So what is acceptable and normal for women in the US might not be acceptable and normal for women in India. What is acceptable and normal in India might not be acceptable and normal for Saudi Arabia. But we, as Saudi women, have seen, felt, and are living the change. Today, we have so many jobs that did not exist 5 years ago for women. We have women on boards, we have women CEOs, and we have women on senior roles in both the private and the public sector. We also have 30 women in the Shura Council, which is the Saudi cabinet that acts like the parliament. My mother didn't work, and a lot of the females I know had also stay-at-home moms. So it's up to us to create our own realities. We are today supporting the Saudi Vision 2030. We are creating the change with the support of our government and our families.
Thank you very much. I received this movie yesterday evening. She was part of the research, and I really appreciate that she was so passionate about what she's doing at the moment. And why I asked her to develop a 2-minute movie, because the image of Saudi Arabia, especially Saudi Arabia, is so different than she's telling here. But this is reality. And I met her 2 years back in Doha. There was a conference on education, etc. So it's fantastic, and 2 things which she's sharing with us, in my opinion, is very important. What is acceptable for women in the US is maybe not acceptable for women in India. What is acceptable for us in India could be not acceptable for women in Saudi Arabia. And that is the intercultural challenge. And I think, not only as a Saudi Arabian woman, but she feels that the differences, you have to respect the differences, but also find the unity in the differences when you work on global level. But she was telling me, first we have to make our homework here in Saudi Arabia, and then let's see. The purpose is to be more independent of oil. You know, Saudi Arabia has a huge amount of oil, but it spoils the country, it spoils the people. So entrepreneurship, creating own identities, is very, very important. And I really respect the royal family and also the ministers, that they understand when you don't start a development at home, when there's the development. And the royal family and the ministers, 100% brothers. So she was telling me, with me also, if I don't get the support of my brothers, I can't do anything. But that's the change at the moment in Saudi Arabia. I'd like to get back to my PowerPoint. Can you help me again, please? Thank you very much. Yes. She's like, okay. Thank you very much. Now, another lady, when we talk about intercultural differences, but also intercultural challenges, she was a German lady and grew up in India. Her father is an Indian. And she was raised all over the world. And now she is working in Bangalore for a company with headquarters in the United States. Because she has a global mindset, and originally, with an Indian father, she's a kind of bridge between the West and India. So she was telling headquarters, when we are communicating via email or phone, but there are no Indian over there, how can we integrate? How can we reduce our lead times via communication, a more effective communication? Well, to make a long story short, there are now 2 Indian people sitting in the headquarters in the United States, and she shared with me the communication, the business, etc. is far more easy because you more or less bridged the intercultural differences. Keeping in mind the story of Abir, the Saudi Arabian lady, and the Indian lady with the headquarters in the United States, we are talking about intercultural differences. In management and in business, it's all about the numbers, growing, ROI, return on investment, etc. And everybody's calling that the hard part. The numbers, the structure, the profit, etc. That's the hard part of the business. But all the ladies were sharing with me, is that the hard part? Well, I don't think so. All the ladies had a minimum of 10 years of managing change. And they were sharing with me, the hard part is managing the people, convincing them to join the change. Sometimes give them another job, or try to bridge the intercultural challenges. And they were telling me that's the hard part, not the numbers. That's the easy part. Now, talking about walking over bridges mean you have a business case, you have a passion, you have a vision, you have a strategy, and you like to make it happen, that dream. Then we talk about the bridges. But how to walk on that bridge? Of course, it starts with yourself. And I like to share a quote of somebody, one of the ladies who participated also the research. And she said, the first thing, when you like to break through vicious patterns or cultural patterns, you have to know your own pattern. Then you know what a game is. And she told me, I've been able to let go of some of my old behavior, lack of self-confidence, feeling like the underdog, no self-esteem, waiting for appraisals, accepting wrong judgment, etc. My own behavior kept me in the same game because people reacted in a way that I remained in the same pattern. They treated me as the underdog. I felt the victim. No compliments or positive feedback or positive expectations. I decided to let it go. So she found herself far more stronger. But then she has to step out of that vicious pattern. Because the effect of feeling an underdog is somebody else replies to you, reacted to you as being you are the underdog. When you become aware of that, and of course you don't like that, how you get out? That's what I mean with vicious patterns. And when you manage and lead change, you always see in communities or in corporates, etc., you see those kind of patterns. How to recognize them? Well, the second step is, you know it by yourself, whatever the pattern is. You have good patterns, nice patterns, boring patterns, bad patterns, whatever. It is the game when you recognize that. When you recognize and you know your own patterns, then you can put more or less that framework, that pair of spectacles on your nose, and then you can scan your environment. Are there more patterns? And of course there are. Are they functional in an organization? Are they functional in a community or in a society? Or are they dysfunctional? Well, in Saudi Arabia, they found out that the vicious pattern of, for example, gender and the role of all the women in Saudi Arabia, that is a very dysfunctional role in order to create a different way of living in Saudi Arabia. Now the most important, and I think a serious part of all those stories which I shared with the female leaders, how to break through the various patterns. I just qualified and categorized all the answers in 4 types. One lady said, I listen to myself, and when I don't feel at home, the situation is not my situation, then I have to get out because that's not my thing. Then I step into a behavioral pattern which is not mine. Secondly, was a lady from Mumbai, and she told me, well, I've learned after 50 years that when I'm in a situation with a lot of values which are not my values, I don't feel at home, immediately a pop-up, like, in social media, etc., etc. She said, I learned to listen to that pop-up. The third one said, I step into the circle of the game. That was an HR manager, and she's right now working for 4 years in India. And she found a company which is totally destroyed by serious, nasty games. And she said, the first thing I had to do is step into that game to see what are the game rules. And via playing the same game rules, she could break it. And it was for her very painful because you have to play more or less the same nasty game to understand it and then find the stick or find the club to break through it. And a couple of ladies said, well, we are human beings, so let's play the game. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes nasty, but get in or get out. So totally different personalities. They all recognize there are vicious circles in communities, in organizations, in society. And that's fine. But when you are leading change, the first thing you have to do is, are those circles, are those vicious patterns functional or dysfunctional to make it happen and to create your own dreams? Meaning, what is the real journey of change? That's not about business cases. It's not about merging companies, etc. That's the cover that's outside. But the real change, the story behind the story behind the story, is more or less a journey of managing your own emotions and support somebody else in finding a new balance in your emotions. For example, doubt, fear, insecurity, paranoia, acceptance, etc. We all know those kind of emotions. Everybody here in the room. When you jump into change, immediately it's a kind of refreshment because you will meet them again. Last but not the least, are we the directors of our own lives? When you jump into a change management process, yes, you are. But when you jump into your own change, sometimes you have maybe a kind of vacuum or you feel lost, depending what's happening in your own life. Could be business-wise, could be family-wise. Then you have the feeling, I'm not anymore the director of my own life. But it's temporary. With a strong personality we all have, you will refine it. So what did I learn from this journey? Never give up. And that's my recommendation to you all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Lucy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maile. Now I welcome Neha Agarwal on the same topic.
The time it starts. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Neha Agarwal and I am into the strategy and planning part of the business. And I work in Reliance Jio since the past 12 years. I would take you to a different aspect of managing change and being the CEO or director of our own lives. All of us here earn a living in one way or the another. Some of us are employers to a large corporation, or some of us are entrepreneurs having our own business. So we all spend a large amount of time meeting the objectives of our company or realizing the vision and values of our employers. And I see so many people dedicate so much of their time in just meeting the objectives of the company. The same was I doing. I saw my directors and the VPs, just doing and being very exceptional at their work. So one day I thought, what if they would have been running their own lives like this? I mean, what would they do out of their lives? So gentlemen and ladies, I would just request to start viewing your life as your own company. As if that is your own company and you are the CEOs of your own life. So what I would focus is your life is your company and you are the CEO of your life. Think about it. And I would ask you all a very few questions. How are you performing as the CEO of your company? Are you a star performer or are you leading your life to its highest success? How is your company performing? Your company would now be analogous to your life in this case. How are you doing in your life? Is your life improving year on year or is it just the same? What is the vision and mission of your company? Mission is your purpose. What is your purpose in your life? And vision are your long-term and short-term goals in your life. Do you have these long-term goals and short-term goals broken by week, by month? And do you have a plan in place to achieve these long-term and short-term goals of your life? Second, this is very interesting. How are your different departments doing? In our organization, we all have different departments. We have marketing, we have production, we have supply chain. So all departments have to work in sync to attain a certain level of profit in your business. But in our life, we have the areas like health, relationship, career, wealth, spirituality. At times we just forget, we just concentrate on our wealth, we concentrate on our career, and we forget the health part of it, we forget the spiritual part of it. And we don't realize that, to achieve a particular success in life, all the areas or all the departments of our life should work simultaneously. We should be working on all that departments of our life. So what happens if we neglect our health? There would be certain issues which would come later on. What will happen if we neglect relationships? Our friends and everybody would start drifting away from it. So the core point is that every department in our life should be equally focused upon. The next question is, what is your company's culture? Every organization has a certain way of culture, or they want their employees to behave in a certain manner. What is your culture? Culture here would mean, what is your personality? What are your values? What are your beliefs? What are those traits that you define your personality? Are you aware of those positive and negatives in you? Are you doing something every day to eliminate those negatives? So that defines your culture. Next question is, what about the processes in your company? Even if a small-sized company will have some processes to work upon. If there's a large-sized company, they will have multitude of processes which they have to work upon. In our life, what are those processes? They are like our habits. They are like our practices which we perform in our daily life. Do you wake up early? Do you sleep early? Do you have an exercise routine in place? Do you have something or sometimes dedicated to your relationships every day? Are you contributing something to your routines which could further contribute to your daily life? My next question would be, are you investing in the best training for your company? Every company does some trainings or some process in place for their employees and development. Are you in the current context? Are you reading? Are you hearing webinars? Are you doing podcasts to making yourself relevant in the current context? Some people could be knowledgeable in one department, some people know more about their career, their wealth, but they neglect about their health. So to cut the long story short, because we are really running short of time, as the CEO of the company, you want your company to soar to roaring heights. You have the power to turn your company, which today is your life, no matter what state it is in. You have the leadership and the power to lead it to success. And believe me, ladies, if you are the CEO of your life, nobody can inhibit and nobody can stop you being the CEO of another company. Thank you. Now I would invite Lucy.
Good afternoon. My name is Mwangi from Kenya, Africa. I'm a wife and a mother, and I'm a CEO of a company called Palmi Manufacturing Company. Palmi Limited, we make hygiene products, which include tissue papers, table napkins, kitchen towels, hand towels, seafoods, and all that. And I'm here to share my story, which will not be projected because I was just supposed to give like a testimony on what challenges women go through when they're starting a business. I'm the founder of Palmi, but I'm happy to say that 10 years down the line, we are now working with my husband and my son, who is a university graduate, and we have got 56 employees, and we have got structures, we have got a HR, we have got accountant, we have got production manager, and we have got several managers. This company started in the year 2006, and the challenge to start it came first by the challenge you have on gender, because back in our country, as much as we are trying and the government is helping, to bring gender equality. There's still this thing at the back of the mind that men are superior, and with their ego, they feel threatened when you want to start something that is going to take you or to give you some economic, financial freedom. So when I was starting, my challenge was how to start without breaking my family. Because for a woman, family comes first. Family security and union comes first. And so I felt that I should start and not break my family. And I can say I had hide some of the items I was using to make the tissue papers under the bed of my daughter because I didn't want my husband to see, so that he could not break or tell me to stop doing the business I had started. I started small, with a small machine which I bought here in Delhi. But I can say that also women are strong because I was able to soldier on. I was able to influence them, influence the man, influence the people around me to join me and continue working with me. So day-to-day working and keeping the family together has been a challenge because you don't want to see you don't want to be seen. You have the vision, you are the career, you are the dreamer, but you don't want to seem like you are the overall. You don't want to look like it look like you are taking it all. But I also want to say that women are very strong because just like we shared last time when we were here, women carry the family, they carry the company, the places they work, the society, their religion, they carry it all. But God has given women wisdom to embrace everything. We usually say that every human being was born through a woman. And so woman is able to nurture whatever is around her, even when she's very far. Like now here we are so many women, and I can tell you 95% of the women here know what is happening back in their countries. They know what the children ate yesterday, they know what the family did yesterday, they know how the company was run yesterday, because women are created like that. So we, giving back to the community, we have come together as women. We call ourselves magnet mothers. And why we call ourselves magnet mothers is because we are like magnets. We hold so many things. And we have been trying to mentor young women to do startup businesses and to try and run them such that they don't break their families, even as they do business, even as they become economically or financially free, that they are economically empowered, they still keep their families together. That's our role now. We are mentoring other ladies, even as we are also doing our business. And what I would like to say is, we have the courage to go on. Thank you.
Neha, Lucy, thank you very much. But maybe there's a question or a statement. Somebody else? Okay, thank you for joining.
Thank you so much. Photographs, group photo के लिए आ जाओ सारे. उसको बुला तो दो. मैं कितनी बार हैं? ग्रुप फोटो के लिए कर दो. सब आगे आ जाओ. ये लो बुला दी. ये रही रखो. देखो वीडियो पर तो नहीं है.
नो मैं कर लेता हूँ.
आ जाओ. हाँ इसका